So this is the old Jackson Cuda HD post fishing trip. This is basically how it's rigged up minus some of the gear. And I'll just quickly go over some of the pros and cons of this boat and some of the details for you. Let's just start at the bow here. So there's your drain plug. It's pretty handy because this kayak will take on a little bit of water, not a lot. Got a grab handle here on the bow. It's okay. I think they could have done a little better job with that, but it's held up well. It's pretty solid. Here's the bow hatch, and I do like this hatch. I like how they've done this. You've got these hinged lid stops right there. So if you open it up, you can see I've got a drop-in insert here. That did not come with the kayak. That's something I did have to purchase separately. Really handy. I do like it. It doesn't have a gasket. It just kind of sits right in there. If you remove that, you can see that's my I've got some extra clothes here in this bag. That's my up the creek without a paddle box there. So I've got all kinds of goodies in there. That's probably a separate video I should do. I would recommend all kayakers, kayak fishermen, anybody who's, you know, venturing out there have some sort of kit like that. But again, yeah, that's probably for another day. Let's see if I can get in there. So as you can see, I hope you can see on camera. I'm going to invert this. But you got a lot of room in there. One of the main advantages of that kind of hatch and this whole design is you can take your rods and store them inside the kayak. You know, just take the rod tips, kind of put them in that way, and that's real handy for doing any kind of rough water landings, launches, that kind of thing. You know, if I'm doing offshore, definitely that's where the rods go. Here's a shot of the bow. So these rod holders, they're incorporated in the hull. These guys right here. That's something that I've never utilized. I just assumed they were not there. I know other people have them, love them, and do utilize them. But for me, I've just not seen a real advantage to those. I would just have preferred them to, you know, bring this flush with the hull and close those up. For me, it's just very underutilized feature of this kayak. It's not really a con, I guess, but for me, it's just something I don't utilize and have not. Got your grab strap. That's for you know, standing up and sitting down in the kayak. That is a nice feature. I like that. I have definitely used that. It could be a little longer, but not a big deal. If you wanted one longer, you could easily, you know, fabricate a new one there. The center hatch, these are great, and I'll show you why. So this opens up, got ample room for tackle storage, which is where I store most of my tackle. With that and these seat slots right here, you know, that's usually all I need. Obviously, I'm like everybody else. I often take more than I need out there. But it is, this hatch is gasketed. I'm not sure what the reason, what this is for, or what you would use that for, but something I've never used. I suppose you could put a water bottle there or something, but if you have stuff in your hatch, it's going to get in the way. Something I've not used. It does come with just a little divider there for your hatch, and that pops right out. Another really cool feature. So if you need to get inside the hull, that whole unit comes out. You could take it out and just leave it out if you wanted to, but yeah, if you were needed to access something in there, it's pretty handy. Typically I just always leave it in there and it stays in there. There's your that secures your lid right there, that strap. There's your side grab handle. Definitely a good location for that. Again, I think they could have done a better job on their grab handles. But you have one on each side. They work okay. These tracks are pretty handy. You can see on the other side here, I've mounted a paddle holder, and that's just a cleat for tying off my my anchor pin. It's what I use it for anyway. Did not come with Kayak. That's add-on. That's mainly a camera mount is what I use this for. Same with the ball mount there. So I've not had any problems with these, but I was a little suspect of their footrest design here. Again, not had a failure. They're pretty easy to adjust. Let's see if I can show you. Just to press that, they slide in and out. But if you can look, let's see that gap? That just doesn't look very solid to me. Again, not had a failure, but it seems like they could have mounted that a little better. Obviously, when you have your feet on it, you put any pressure on it, that whole thing is moving. Again, I've had this kayak roughly 5 years, and you know, no issues with it, but I think that's something they could have done a better job on. See there, you got a scupper hole right there, one here. It came equipped with that GoPro mount. That's something I've not utilized. It's not a bad location, I guess, but it's I just use other mounts for that. So I don't know, that's probably something they could have left out. Maybe put something right here instead. So here's their seat. It's, you know, it came equipped with this thermarest pad, which I do like, but I used to have a native Slayer 14, and I thought it had a more comfortable seat in it than this one. And I think by adding that thermarest, that was one way they're trying to make it, you know, more comfortable than it actually is. I do always use it because it does provide some lumbar support. So overall, it's not a bad seat. I think they could have tweaked it and done a little better job on it. But it's got your slots there for your tackle. These will hold your Plano boxes. Right here you have another one. That will not hold a Plano box, but it's handy for other things. You know, maybe your cell phone, a fish grip, what have you. And this kayak did come with it had a dry bag that mounts to the back of this. It's a pretty nice dry bag. It's the zipper pointed up, and it made it it's pretty handy for accessing stuff really quickly. If it's inclement weather, really cold, sometimes I will throw it on there and utilize it, but I found since I've taken it off, I've just really not wanted to put it back on. Pretty good idea, I guess. Just something I don't use that often. Here's your back strap for kind of tweaking your seat. So this Jackson seat has a high-low position in it, which I do like, and I like that versatility. But you do have to pull these pins. Remove it, set it in your high position there, and then, you know, repin it down. I find though, mainly for my purposes, I'm in that low seating position. I'm primarily an inshore saltwater fisherman, so 90% of my time I am, you know, out there in open water. And but on a super calm day, or if you're doing some lake fishing or pond fishing, this high seating position is pretty cool. Or if you've, you know, moved into some water that's relatively calm, and it gives you, you know, a little elevated position, you know, if you're targeting a school of fish. So I like having that versatility. But again, most of the time I am in this low position. Also, this rides on tracks. You got a port and starboard tracks there, and you just loosen these, and that allows you to move it forward or backward. I've not had any problems with that. It's worked pretty good for me. All right, moving to the back, you can see it's got some scupper holes. It's got 6 altogether here. These rod holders did come with the Kayak. You got 2 of them. I typically only have 1 on board unless I'm doing some offshore trolling, that kind of thing. As you see, I've got my custom Hobie kayak crate in there. That's one I just took a Hobie kayak crate. I like those a lot. I did another video on that, by the way. So if you get a chance, check that one out. But it is kind of customized it myself. This is the one I use pretty much all the time now. But if you remove that, you know, you do have ample storage under this. There's no hatch under there. It's just open space. Typically I always have a crate or something back there, but you do have that option. This track you see right there, that is for strength. A lot of people don't realize that, but that's all that is. It's like some sort of stabilizer, kind of strengthens the hull, keeps it from flexing, that kind of thing. The Cuda has these built-in rod holders, and I use those a lot. I like them because they're angled back. Here's your stern hatch, and it's just got this rubber, it's not really a gasket, it's just a rubber seal. Not really had any failures or anything with it. Again, this kayak will take on a little bit of water, but very little. Don't really use that a lot, that stern hatch. I usually use the bow hatch, but it's good to have it there if you do need to use it. Occasionally I do some kayak camping, and I will you know, utilize that for other gear. Grab handle, poor location in my opinion. And you can see they've got this mount nut, I guess, for a power pole. If you wanted to do that, I suppose you probably do a power pole or a rudder, that kind of thing. Here's a shot of the stern. You can see it's got that a kill guard on it there, which is replaceable. Pretty nice feature. So I thought I'd flip it over so you can get a better look at the hull. This hull is after about 5 years of use. I'll try to zoom in with this camera and get a little closer look, but overall it's held up, I think, very well. My old kayak, my Native Slayer, had similar damage, I guess you could say. I've never done anything to maintain this. Basically just, you know, rinse it with fresh water. I try to keep it out of the sun. I've got some pretty good gouges in it, but these holes are pretty thick. Let's see if I can get some close-ups. So again, this is after roughly 5 years of use, inshore saltwater. It's 90% of what I do. And again, the areas I fish are just chock full of oysters, which is a good thing. but it's just inevitable. So if you're new to kayaking, especially inshore, saltwater, don't get too worried about it. It's just part of it. These holes are very thick. I've never seen a gouge that like really concerned me, but you can see, you know, it has taken some abuse. There's one of the keel on the stern moving up. It's pretty good ones right there. And also that I'll give you an idea of what that hole looks like. All right, I hope this walkthrough was helpful to you. If you're considering buying one, or any kayak for that matter, but it'll give you a good idea of what features are on the Jackson Cuda HD. Again, I've had this kayak roughly 5 years now, and I've put it through a lot of hard use. I do not, you know, I use my equipment, and you know, I go where I need to catch the fish. So it's held up really well as far as the hull goes. A lot of abuse over oyster shell, that kind of thing. So my thoughts on this kayak are this: it is a really good inshore kayak, and I say that because I have taken this kayak offshore, and it just doesn't shine. It's doable, it's okay, but you know, if we're trying to get through the surf or back onto the beach, get in some of those big swells, you know, offshore, that kind of thing, there's better kayaks, I think, for that purpose. So if you're specifically looking for a kayak for offshore, I would say you probably need to check out something besides the Cuda HD. Adequate, but there's better out there. But for inshore kayak fishing, which I'm here on the Carolina coast, I cover a lot of water, a lot of different environments, ICW Bay, crossing inlets, current, you know, rough water. It does really well. Hopefully you'll be able to see, you know, through the walkthrough, it's kind of it's a narrow, pointy bow, which is good. You know, really breaks through like chop and rough water, and it tracks pretty good. It's roughly 13 feet. I will post the specs for this unit in the video or with the video, but as you can see, it's got a real nice pointy bow. It's not real upswept, and that's the thing I think you really want for really rough water, or tracking is imperative. Going, you know, launching through a surf, I think, you know, a little more upswept bow is what you want, which this does not have. But I have had this in some pretty hairy situations, rough water, storms, you know, that kind of thing, thunderstorms, and it has done fine. This kayak would also make a very good, you know, a lake boat, pond boat, that kind of thing. Now it might be a little more narrow than some people like. I've been kayaking a long time, so you know, I'm used to a narrow hull. I started sea kayaking, so you know, as I've gotten into kayak fishing, time has gone by, you know, I'm utilizing a wider hull, but by some folks' standards, this is not a wide hull, but it does fine for my purposes. I do stand up in it and cast, you know, without any problems. But if you're, you know, a larger person, you know, there's probably a better Jackson kayak out there for you, or other kayak. I would just caution anybody though, when folks ask me, you can't go too wide. You know, you start getting too wide and you're losing performance. Some of your spots are, you know, a good ways away. You want something that's, you know, you're not going to be spent by the time you get out there. This kayak tracks really well. You get a lot of, you know, glide for your effort. So I could definitely recommend a Jackson Cuda HD for anybody that's looking for a good all-purpose kayak, and specifically one for inshore saltwater kayak fishing. It's been a great kayak. And right now, I don't think they even make this model anymore, the Cuda HD. But you can find deals on these models, through the different marketplaces. A lot of folks are upgrading and going to the pedal kayaks, and they're blowing these out. And if you can find one, 4, 5, 6 years old or whatever, even if it's well used, you're still going to get a solid kayak. I mean, there's just not a lot to go wrong with them, really. So yeah, keep your eye out for used models. Good way, buying used is a good way to get in to test the water, so to speak. All right, well, whether you're on the water or in the woods, be safe out there and enjoy these great outdoors. We'll see you soon here on Topsail Outdoor Adventures. Take care.